Have you ever wondered what it's like to leave a nursing home after only a few months? I did. At first, it seemed like the only option for me when my health started to decline. My family and doctors thought it would be the safest choice, given my age and medical needs. But after just 3 months, I made the decision to leave. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't something I expected to do, but it was the best decision I could have made. In today's video, I want to share why I left my nursing home after such a short time. I know many of you watching are likely in similar situations or have family members who are considering a move to one of these facilities. The decision is tough. There are fears, uncertainties, and a lot of pressure from others. But after going through this experience, I learned a few things that changed my perspective on aging, independence, and what it truly means to feel at home. Before I dive into the reasons why I left, I'd love to hear from you. Have you or a loved one ever stayed in a nursing home? What was your experience like? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more content like this. Now, let's talk about why I made the decision to leave. Number 1, the loss of independence. When I first arrived at the nursing home, I thought I would be surrounded by people who understood what I was going through. I imagined it would be a safe place where I could rest, heal, and enjoy my later years with support from professionals. However, what I didn't anticipate was the feeling of losing something incredibly precious to me, my independence. At first, everything seemed fine. The staff was friendly, and the facility was clean and comfortable. But as time passed, I began to realize just how much control I was surrendering. Simple tasks like choosing what to eat, when to wake up, and even how to spend my day were no longer mine to decide. Everything was scheduled for me, and I was expected to follow along with no room for flexibility. It was a subtle shift at first. I remember one morning when I wanted to go for a walk, something I had done every day in my own home. But the staff informed me that I had to wait until after breakfast and that it had to be with a group. It was a simple request, but it made me feel as if my autonomy was being stripped away bit by bit. I began to feel like a passenger in my own life, watching the days go by without having any real say in how I spent them. I knew it wasn't the right way to live. Independence isn't just about physical freedom. It's about having control over your own decisions. It's something that keeps us active, engaged, and connected to the world around us. Without it, we begin to feel isolated, disconnected, and even invisible. This loss of control was the first real reason I knew I couldn't stay in the nursing home. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that I wasn't just losing my independence. I was losing my sense of self. That's when I knew it was time to make a change. What about you? Have you ever felt like you were losing your independence in a situation? How did you cope with it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit the like button if you agree that independence is something we should never take for granted. Number 2, the lack of personal connection. One of the things that surprised me most during my time at the nursing home was the overwhelming sense of loneliness. I expected the staff to be warm and friendly, and they were, but it wasn't the same as the personal connections I had back at home. Being surrounded by other residents, many of whom were in similar situations, should have made me feel like I wasn't alone. However, the reality was quite different. At first, I tried to engage with the other residents, but the interactions felt superficial. Many of the people there were either too frail to converse or too focused on their own needs to really connect. It wasn't like being around friends or family where you could share stories, laugh together, or simply enjoy each other's company. It felt more like we were all just passing through the same space without truly seeing one another. There were moments when I felt completely isolated. In the evenings, when most of the activities had wrapped up, I would sit in my room, looking out the window, wishing I could just speak to someone who truly understood me. The nursing home, despite being filled with people, felt eerily quiet and empty. It was a kind of loneliness that goes beyond physical distance. It's the feeling of being disconnected from the world, from the people who matter most. What I missed the most was the kind of deep, meaningful relationships that are formed when you have the freedom to spend time with people on your own terms. At home, I had the ability to invite friends over for a cup of tea or call up my children to chat. Those small, yet significant, interactions were no longer a part of my life. It was at this point that I realized the importance of human connection. We all need it, no matter our age. It's the glue that keeps us grounded and helps us feel valued. The lack of real, personal connection in the nursing home made me reconsider my decision to stay. If you've ever felt isolated in a similar situation, I want to hear your story. How did you cope with the loneliness? Share your experiences in the comments below, and if you're enjoying the video so far, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Let's keep the conversation going and support one another. Number 3, the impact on my mental health. While physical care and comfort were important, I quickly learned that my mental health was just as, if not more, crucial to my overall well-being. In the nursing home, I started to notice a gradual shift in my mindset. At first, I tried to stay optimistic and adapt to my new environment. But the more time I spent there, the more I felt my mental health decline. There's a well-known concept in psychology called the learned helplessness effect. This is when people feel like they no longer have control over their circumstances, and as a result, they stop trying to change their situation. This is exactly how I felt after just a few weeks in the nursing home. I had little control over my daily routine, and I wasn't encouraged to do much for myself anymore. The structure and rules of the facility, although meant to be helpful, made me feel powerless and trapped. At first, I tried to push through. I attempted to engage in activities, but often, they were either too passive or not stimulating enough to keep my mind active. I found myself staring at the walls, thinking about the life I had left behind, and feeling increasingly disconnected from the things that once brought me joy, reading my favorite books, cooking, or even taking a walk around my neighborhood. Research has shown that a lack of mental stimulation and routine can significantly affect one's emotional well-being, especially as we age. Feelings of depression and anxiety can become more prevalent when we feel as though we have lost purpose or direction in life. I could feel the weight of it on my shoulders, and it became clear that if I didn't take action soon, my mental health could deteriorate further. That's when I realized something. Staying in the nursing home wasn't just about physical care. It was about my mind, my spirit, and my overall sense of purpose. Without mental stimulation, without the freedom to engage in meaningful activities, I was slowly fading away. Have you ever experienced the toll that a lack of mental stimulation or control can take on your emotional well-being? How did you manage it? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and give this video a like. Let's continue this important conversation. Number 4, the lack of personalization in care. One of the most unsettling aspects of nursing home life for me was the lack of personalized care. When I first arrived, I assumed that the staff would take the time to get to know me, understand my needs, and provide care that suited my individual preferences. However, as the days passed, I came to realize that I was just one of many patients on a long list, and my care was often generic and impersonal. The staff, though kind, were busy and overworked. They had a set schedule to follow, and while they did their best, it felt like they couldn't offer the level of attention that I needed. I remember on one occasion when I asked if I could be given a meal that didn't include something I was allergic to. The nurse simply nodded and noted it down, but didn't seem to consider the importance of making sure this request was followed up on properly. Sure enough, the next meal came with the very ingredient I had asked to avoid. I had to remind them again, and even then, it didn't feel like my needs were being fully understood or respected. It wasn't just about the food. It was about the small, everyday decisions that make up life. Things like being asked if I wanted to go for a walk at the time I preferred, or if I could arrange my room to make it more comfortable for me. The lack of personalized care made me feel like I was just another name on a list rather than a person with unique needs and preferences. This experience is common in many nursing homes where the focus tends to be on efficiency and managing a large number of residents rather than catering to each person's individual needs. While this approach might work in some settings, it didn't work for me. I needed more than just basic care. I needed to feel seen and heard, not just as a patient, but as an individual. If you've ever experienced a similar situation, I'd love to know how you dealt with it. Have you ever felt like your care was too impersonal or generic? Share your thoughts with me in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you believe personalized care should be a priority in nursing homes. Number 5. The strain on my physical health. While many people assume that nursing homes provide the best care for physical health, I quickly discovered that the environment wasn't as conducive to my well-being as I had hoped. In fact, it became clear that staying there was negatively impacting my physical health in ways I didn't expect. One of the first things I noticed was the lack of movement and physical activity. Although the nursing home offered exercise sessions, they were often not tailored to my abilities or interests. The exercises were basic and designed for the general population of residents, many of whom had more severe health issues than I did. I found myself getting bored with the routine and frustrated by the lack of variety. For someone like me, who had been accustomed to more active days at home, whether it was gardening, walking, or even going for a swim, this stagnant routine felt like it was undoing all the progress I had made in maintaining my health. Even simple activities like walking became difficult due to the limited space available. The hallways were narrow, and the outdoor space wasn't easily accessible unless accompanied by a staff member. It wasn't like my previous life where I could go out whenever I wanted, pace around my backyard, or take a walk to the local park. The lack of independence in these activities not only made me feel frustrated, but also contributed to a decline in my physical fitness. Moreover, I started to notice a pattern. Many of the residents seemed to be in worse physical shape than when they arrived. While part of it could be attributed to their underlying conditions, I also believe that the lack of variety in physical activities and the confined nature of the facility played a significant role. Research has shown that a lack of physical activity can lead to a variety of health issues, from muscle weakness to increased risk of heart disease and depression. At home, I had control over my daily exercise routine. I could go for a walk, stretch, or do a few exercises that suited my needs. In the nursing home, that freedom wasn't there, and I could feel the toll it was taking on my body. I wasn't able to stay as active as I would have liked, and that became a huge turning point for me. Has your physical health been impacted by a lack of activity or control in your care? How do you stay active as you age? I'd love to hear about your experiences in the comments. If this video resonates with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with others who might be facing similar challenges. The decision to leave and move forward. After 3 months in the nursing home, I realized that the quality of life I was experiencing there was not what I had envisioned. It wasn't just the loss of independence or the lack of personal connection. It was the compounded effect these issues had on my physical and mental health. I had gone from being a person who was active, engaged, and independent to someone who felt helpless, isolated, and disconnected. The time spent in that environment made me reflect on what truly matters in life as we age. Not just the physical care, but also the freedom to live with purpose, the chance to nurture relationships, and the ability to maintain our dignity. Leaving the nursing home wasn't an easy decision, and it certainly wasn't without its challenges. But ultimately, I knew that I needed to take back control of my life, my health, and my well-being. I made arrangements to move back into my own home, where I could set my own schedule, continue my physical activities, and be surrounded by the people who cared about me the most. The decision wasn't just about rejecting the nursing home. It was about embracing the belief that I could still live an active, fulfilling life, even at an older age. I began to realize that with the right support and a bit of creativity, it's possible to continue living on your own terms, even as you grow older. If you find yourself in a similar situation, or if you're wondering about the next steps in your journey, know that it's okay to question what's best for you. You have the right to make decisions that prioritize your happiness, health, and independence. I hope my experience has given you some insight into the importance of maintaining control over your own life and care, no matter where you are in your journey. If you found this video helpful, I encourage you to like, share, and comment below with your thoughts or any questions you might have. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. You're not alone in this, and together we can continue the conversation about aging with dignity and independence. Thank you for watching, and take care of yourselves.